Never tell me the odds.
Hey, no! Eeyore.
Ohala means family. Some people are worth melting for.
So we're in the tower. We are ready for takeoff.
Hey guys, welcome to Hyperion on Live. We are a Disney podcast that is, we see through, let me restart that. Wow, we are very unscripted. So anyways, we are a weekly Disney podcast that reviews all Disney entertainment seen through an unextremely clean Main Street window. For our live shows, we are unedited, unfiltered, and unscripted. My name is Frankie, and joining me today is my co-host, John, Danny, and Steve. We are live from the other side of the Epcot Stargate. So, first off, guys, what did y'all think about that intro?
What we have sounded dope.
I think I'm going to stick to doing the intros from now on.
I know. Wow. I was trying to do everything at once as production and stuff. So, wow.
Yeah, live and learn, dude. It's fine. Everybody has a first time.
Yeah, it is.
I think I'm going to stick to doing the intros.
So,
Echo.
Sorry, that was me. I was sharing it on Facebook. My bad.
I was beginning to say, I figured somebody liked my voice or something, just kept recording it over and over again.
It's funny because that wouldn't happen.
Ouch. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome, buddy. Love you.
So, guys, how are everybody doing today?
I just started spring break at work. For those who don't know, I work at a high school. So I'm on spring break, and it would be a lot more fun if our douchebag Governor Ducey didn't decide that we all had to come back. We had to bring students back here shortly. So I get to go from having no kids for the past year to having a lot of kids on next Monday. So, yay!
I was doing great till the chupacabra lovers showed up. Hi, Danny's dad.
Hi, Danny's dad.
Yeah, hi, Danny's dad. How are you doing this afternoon?
It's evening, buddy. One might even say night.
In Arizona, you guys have those screwy time zones, so
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're in Mountain Standard Time most of the year.
For right now. So. Well, John, what do you got for us?
Not really too much. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I'm trying to share this all over the interwebs here. So, can't complain. Pretty good week. Interesting week in the Disney news. We might get to that. Sasquatch's week. I don't disagree with that statement. Whoa. But yeah, I'd say that's what I got going on. What about you, Frankie?
Y'all thought my dad, you thought I was annoying. Wait till you meet where I get it from.
We should drop that band hammer. Let's go.
Wow. No, my week's actually been all right, guys. Weather's been nice. 75
there's no more snow in Texas, huh?
Yes, it's been nice, enjoyable. Kind of cool in the morning, but nothing like it was a few weeks ago. So
we're about to hit 90 degrees out here in Arizona. Summer's here.
Whoa! We have sunlight out here. That's about all we can brag about. It's still like 30 degrees. So
nice.
Oh. Nothing exciting like talking about the weather. Am I right, guys?
Oh, small talk. Anyway, back to you guys.
Well, if you guys don't want to talk about the small talk, we can talk about what we plan on doing for the first half of the show here.
Let's do it.
Take it away.
Cool. So, it is officially March, which means that one of the greatest sporting spectacles of all time is going to be occurring, and that is spring training. I'm just kidding. March Madness, everybody. And as we decided last year, we had a grouping of 32 Star Wars people, and we just decided that was way too much. So we're going to simplify it this year. I believe, Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 8 people in the bracket this year.
Let me double check. Let me pull it up.
Hey, while you're pulling
Yeah.
that up, Brandon, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for watching.
Yes,
What's up,
Brandon.
What is up,
Hi,
man?
Brandon. So for our March Madness, we have 8 people. And does somebody want to announce what our theme is? Because I'm very excited.
Yes, we are going to be debating, and we're going to be choosing marvelous misfits this year. So kind of the lovable losers of the Disney canon, some people who may not necessarily be a hero, but someone who's not necessarily the villain either. Kind of the guys that kind of get shoved off into the corner, and people love them, but they're not really doing a whole lot of anything. So
Kind of like Steve, they're just there for the comedic effect.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
You mean the guy that brings them back for more?
Since when?
Depends on who you ask.
Our adoring, loving fans. The ones that matter.
Well, Danny, why don't you tell us who the 8 contestants are, and then we'll move into who we're going to be talking about tonight.
Okay. So our contestants in bracket 1 is going to be Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh and the Pub Thugs from Tangled. In
Those
bracket
guys are
2, we have got Ray from Princess and the Frog. He's a little firefly, if you don't remember. And then we have Dopey from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. For our next bracket, we have Gus Gus from Cinderella. And then we have Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. And in our final bracket, we've got our duos. We have Timon and Pumbaa from Lion King and Jamba and Pleakley from the Lilo and Stitch movies. So those are our 8 contestants for brackets.
Ooh. It's going to be a showdown.
It is. I already have my faves. So
I have my personal favorite. I know who's going to win. It's going to take it all the way to the end. There's not even a doubt in my mind.
I have who I want to win and who I think is going to win.
Can I just point out the travesty that Sasquatch didn't make the rankings as one of the misfits of a Disney movie?
Sasquatch has to have actual lines for them to be involved.
Oh, so since he doesn't speak English, he's excluded. Wow, very progressive of you.
He doesn't speak anything.
Well, I will say it looks like we've already got somebody who's got their favorite. So, I mean, they started to come in now.
Gus and Kronk are my 2 favorites in this.
And they're going head-to-head.
So we'll see.
But tonight we're going to be taking the first round here, and in the first round it is going to be probably the most lovable loser out of the group here, who consistently loses all the time and still keeps chugging along. Eeyore versus the losers who only dream about getting somewhere and don't necessarily actually make it anywhere, the Pub Thugs from Tangled. So the rules are pretty simple here. We're going to go around the horn. We're going to spend about 60 seconds each, which is an English word. We're going to spend about 60 seconds each discussing who we think is the most lovable loser and who we think is going to be the person to move on to the next round. And then we are going to vote on it. And we would love for the people watching the show and listening to us live right now to jump in and let us know who you think is the most lovable loser. We will give you guys a little bit of a vote as well, especially if the 4 of us don't agree. You guys will kind of be a tiebreaker. So why don't we get started, and let's go with, since Danny is pouring a drink, let's go with Danny.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Call her out, why don't you?
To deal with Steve, I have to drink. So
the same reason I'm drinking is because of Danny. So,
before you get started, Frankie, if you can pull up Brandon's last comment where he said "or."
Sorry, but he wasn't qualified for the Misfits.
Go ahead,
All
Danny.
right, so 60 seconds. All right, Eeyore is great. Eeyore is, probably the most well-known, lovable loser. However,
like
first,
Danny.
Amen. I gotta go with the Pub Thugs. They're so funny. They are even better in Tangled, the animated series. Their song is arguably the best song in Tangled. I've Got a Dream is just, it is a bop. So my vote is going to be for the Pub Thugs, because any guys who are emotional and sensitive enough to come out and say, you know, I've got a dream and I want to be a world famous pianist, or I want to fall in love, or I want to make ceramics, has got my vote.
All right. So we got Danny, who's voting for the Pub Thugs.
Next
Frankie,
time we need like a counter up at the top that says like one, you know.
Yeah.
Time seconds, yeah.
Yep.
Time.
Yeah.
Make it
so
go full March Madness.
Let's give it over to Frankie, but before we do that, I have to point out Brandon again, who tried to call me out and curse me out live on Facebook and couldn't even spell my name correctly. So that's the second name.
Ooh, who are the Pup Thugs? I'm very interested in Pup Thugs.
Oh man. So, all right. So we want in one corner we have a donkey that is just miserable and sad on life, and who is always tends to lose his tail for some odd reason. Don't know how, but he always loses his tail. And the other, we have a group of guys, and the sad thing is my wife is listening, and I could hear how far the delay is. And I have to say it right now because I will see that I gotta say, hey wife, hey, so I don't sleep on the couch again. I will say, so in the other corner we have the Pub Thugs, a bunch of guys that have a dream. Well, between the two of them, I have to give it to the Pub Thugs because number one, they sing better, they have a better outlook on life, and it seems like those guys are going places. So my vote is to the Pub Thugs. And plus, I like beer, they seem to like beer, so what more can you like?
Real quick, hey guys who are listening, if you could do us a favor and share wherever you're listening to this on, heads up, that would be super appreciated. We're almost at 9 viewers, which is what we had last week, and that's super awesome. Let's see if we can beat that this week. So if you guys could just give us a quick share, we would super duper appreciate it.
For sure. And one of those listeners last week was my own wife, and she's not listening this week because she's at work. So if we can beat that with my wife not listening, then I can shove it in her face for the next week. So help me shove it in my wife's face, everybody, would you?
Hey, John, can you do me a quick favor? I'm trying to find the link to share to the Station 71 Discord. You're the best. Thank you.
So, go ahead.
All right, Steve.
I'm gonna have to give it to the Pub Thugs
All
as
right,
well,
so
man.
I'm gonna start talking about this now.
Oh, did you take your Alzheimer's medicine, buddy? I think you're forgetting the order of things here. Yeah, it's okay, buddy. We know where you're at. You're safe. No, the Pub Thugs, though, man. Yeah, they're just all the points you guys made. The fact that their song's amazing, they're going places. They were helpful, with the outcome of the whole movie. I mean, these guys were awesome.
They got them out. They got them out of that pub. The snuggly duckling.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's a no-brainer on this one. As cool as Eeyore is, and the fact that he never wins, he's almost too depressed most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Pub Thugs it is for me.
I relate to Eeyore because I too am depressed all the time. But yeah, dude, the Pub Thugs, I mean, they're the best. You can't beat the Pub Thugs.
I mean, they're a funny bunch of guys, and plus, who knew? They knew how to sing.
They did. Not well, but they were.
It was good, but I mean, the song's good, but I mean, come on.
Did you guys notice the Easter egg that they actually put John in that scene? The old guy flying around in the diaper. That was a shout out to John. So, and Brandon, yes, to answer your question, sunglasses at night. I am that cool.
But more importantly, we were discussing this before we came on the air. Steve looks like he bought a tiger zoo from a hick and redneck and decided to sell it after he went to jail to the woman that he was trying to murder. So he's definitely got a thing going on tonight.
Well, if it wasn't for that bitch Carol Baskin.
Killed her husband, whacked him.
Can't tell.
By the way, this is for Tall the Delusional. You suck. Just a casual reminder. That is my boyfriend, everybody who cannot see Tall the Delusional. But I've never laughed watching them, aka the Pub Thugs. I hope he's saying it about the Pub Thugs and not us.
No, I'm pretty sure he's saying it about us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hello, boyfriend who cares more about the NBA All-Star game going on right now.
I will say, Danny's dad
being
does
here
bring
with
out
me.
an interesting point. And yeah, so they do sing better than Danny's dad. So
I can confirm that. They look very similar, the Pub Thugs and my father, but the singing difference.
Not just that, but you know, with him being a Chupacabra fan, he just squeals. So
one of these days, I'm gonna have my dad just here with me.
I have to bring this one up just for everybody because yes, I can see that. In fact, actually, I told Steve already. I'm expecting SWAT to kind of just storm in at any moment now.
The shaved head doesn't help, buddy. You look like you're gonna beat someone up in the street because they're a different color than you.
Whoa.
It's the shaved head man. It's the shaved head and sunglasses.
Well, John, what's your vote on this?
Yeah, thank you for that transition.
Racist skinhead. That's you, John.
My opinion doesn't matter because I've already been outvoted. I'm going with Eeyore, man. There is just something about his tenacity and his fact that no matter how much he gets beat up and how much he gets his tail ripped off, the fact that he just keeps coming back and he keeps chugging along, he keeps trying to put his house together, and he's just trying to find some semblance of happiness. Whereas the Pub Thugs just kind of like sing a song.
Wow.
Oh, Brandon, that was. Let's flash Brandon's comment up because that needs to be seen.
Well,
I'm not racist. My girlfriend is brown.
That's like saying I have a black friend.
I do have a black friend. His name's Brandon. I don't qualify.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we get kicked off of YouTube and Twitch and Facebook.
All at once, yes.
Y'all wanted an unedited version. Here we are.
Well, trying to stay on topic.
Really, the unedited is just me and Steve.
Eeyore loses.
Yeah.
Yes, Eeyore loses 3-1 vote. It was a good fight, but like I think either way, Eeyore really doesn't have much going for him at the end of the day. So
cancel Steve. You know what?
Hold on.
You know what? I didn't see what happened. We had this discussion yesterday about my fear of comedy with the cancel culture, and I've already been canceled. Son of a bitch.
Sorry, catching on, Steve.
Sure
sorry.
That was this morning. I don't even think that was yesterday.
Maybe. You know what? That's fine, guys. If you want to cancel me, that's fine. But you can subscribe to my OnlyFans, and you can get your content there. So
yeah, everybody, just a heads up, we are going to be doing a
actually let's talk about
Hyperion review OnlyFans.
Well, before we do that, there's the proof. You might not be able to see it, but it says #cancel Steve.
It does.
I think all I could see was the fuck. All right, so I guess that concludes this round of March Madness for today.
Thank you,
We will be doing it in the future shows with the others. So it looks like the Pub Dubs is moving around to round 2, which is be the semifinals.
Woo!
And Danny, who would they be taking on in the next round? Whoever were to move forward, one of the two.
So our next round is going to be Ray from Princess and the Frog and Dopey from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Okay. So, well, I won't say who it's going to be then.
Yeah. So, I think now's a great time to kind of throw in our giveaway. What do y'all say?
Let's go for it, dude.
I'm in, yeah.
Show them what we're
All right.
doing for the fans right now.
Yeah, so this is something that we wanted to give back to y'all, our fans, because we could not do this without y'all. So we are doing a giveaway. And I haven't even discussed it with my co-host of how we're doing this yet. So this is all news to them right now.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going on. I just paid $5 to the pool to help pay for this. So. Yeah, I have no clue what's going on.
So the giveaway that we're giving away is a Pop Funko Steamboat Willie. It all started with a mouse, and we wanted to start it with the same mouse it started with, Steamboat Willie. He's one of my favorite characters just because of what he's been as a icon in the pop culture. The way to enter this giveaway is there's 2 things that we require from you. Share this live stream and like our Facebook post, or like our Facebook page, sorry. And that way we will actually get all the names together and we will draw from a randomizer that John has. John, will you want to talk about that randomizer?
I put names on the internet and it spits out a winner.
Yes, it is very high tech.
Which is very similar to how our OnlyFans will work.
It is.
Yes, and I have a picture of someone's foot from in this chat that is going to go on the internet here pretty soon. Just throwing it out there.
What is it? We don't know.
Hold on, if you want that, you're going to have to pay me for it because I bought that.
All right. I do see somebody does not have a Facebook page. So, in turn, you could actually... we'll figure something out for you.
Well,
Share it on Twitter.
I did not think of that.
Hey,
Share it on
what
Twitter.
if
Give us a shout
Yes.
out on Twitter.
Give us a shout out. One of our social medias. And actually, I've got
I
something
was
for
gonna
y'all. You can
what
follow
if-
us on Instagram. Follow us
throw
on
this
Twitter.
idea out real quick while you're still blabbing? Okay.
Go
What
ahead,
if?
Steve.
What if? Okay. You get a drawing for every platform that you follow us on.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of work, Steve. As
That
long
is.
as I'm not
It's a
doing
lot
that.
of work. It's a lot of work, but you know, if you follow us on Twitch, that's one. Facebook, that's one. Instagram, that's one. Twitter, that's one. YouTube, that's one. So you could potentially get, five tickets. In
I
that
like
drawing,
it.
baby.
I like it. And I mean, look at it. Look how beautiful that thing is.
It is pretty cool.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So what you're saying is we're not going to know who the winner is tonight. We're going to have to see,
No.
tabulate it, and come
We
back
will-
next week.
I guess
Come back
you
next week
better
and we
follow
will
us.
announce it live on air who the winner is.
There you
So
go.
yeah. So come back
So
next
get the
week to
live
find out if you won, if you had successfully entered into our drawing.
And
Yeah.
to answer Ethan Lake's question, it is nighttime. Well, it wasn't a question; it was a statement. It is nighttime, but when you're this cool, you can wear them anytime. Like David Hasselhoff.
Did you just compare yourself to David Hasselhoff?
You have
Goddamn
a
right.
CD
I
coming
did.
out in Germany we don't know about yet.
Oh, are you assuming because I have a shaved head, I'm from Germany now? This is getting really terrible.
No, but I assume because you're wearing that hat, you look like a fat Jesse James.
That's the best compliment I've ever gotten in my fucking life. Hell yeah, Fat Jesse James. I'll take that all day. Let's go.
Jesus.
Uh,
Point out.
there we go.
I started this stream with a
I'm
full
better than
bottle of
David.
wine, and we're already halfway through. So Steve is the reason I drink.
I had a half bottle of tequila, and that's almost gone too, thanks to Danny and her chupacabra goat sucking dad. So
Brandon is ripping you apart tonight in the chat.
you know what? Maybe I don't have a black friend after all. Maybe I don't.
Oh my god!
Oh,
And no, I don't have pecs like David Hasselhoff. I have man boobs. You're welcome.
This Arbor Mist, the Blackberry Merlot, is literally like my favorite drink in the world. So highly recommend for my alcohol drinkers out there. For my non-alcohol drinkers, you're doing
missing
your
out.
best. Yeah, you're. Ooh.
Looks like urine. Whose urine is that clear? Nobody's. You know how much energy drinks I drink? I'm in retail. My blood is 50% caffeine.
Yeah. Every morning somebody asks me if I'm going to die from my third Red Bull of the day. And
And I get the
Phantom
same
milk
question. I'm
cake.
like, yeah, probably.
Wow.
He's 50% caffeine because he needs something to move those wheels.
babe.
Well, and, John, that's true. And it's kind of like when you get your life support machine on a battery, so you can move around some. So it's a fair exchange.
Lithium ion. That's all I'm saying. Lithium ion. There were very few people that thought you ever had a friend.
Wow.
Ethan, you used to be one of them too. So
All right. Well, I'd say why don't we move on to some Marvel predictions, some MCU show predictions, and I'm going to hand it over to Frankie here, and I'm going to disappear for a minute because I have children and I have to go put them to bed, but I will be back. And I swear, if there's a racist comment, I'm going to have the
John, before you
on my
go,
phone. If there's a racist comment while I'm gone, I'm going to hear it.
John, before you go, kudos to you for having children at your age, man. That's, you know, because you're going to be the old dad picking them up from school. So kudos to you, man. So we'll
wait.
I'll tell you, man, it's going to be
Here
terrible.
we go. Somebody finally mentioned it. I was waiting to see how long, John.
Yeah, I built it myself in the last week between shifts at work.
It's true. He was actually a brick mason in the 1740s, and that's how he learned to do that. So
all right.
Kudos to
So
him.
we are going to be talking our Marvel prediction show. One of the things that is coming out actually starting on the 19th, is it? Am I right? Wrong? Yeah, I'm
believe
right.
Not this Friday, next Friday.
Yeah, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I want to get our predictions out there before anybody else starts throwing out their predictions. And if we have time, we may throw in some Loki predictions because I have some good predictions about Loki and what's going to be about. Some that I don't think anybody's actually mentioning out there yet. So, or at least that I know of. So, I know Steve is my fellow, actually he's this way now, is my fellow Marvel fanatic. So
Real quick, you guys realize my first job was at a comic book store / action figure museum, right?
Well, we figured you spent most of the time in the back, so.
No, I used to give tour guides about classic comic books and action figures.
I'm about to get kicked off. Girls read comic books?
I know. Wild. But, you know, when it comes to the comics, I'm a DC gal. I love me some DC comics.
I don't. Let me
Movies, no.
clarify something. Let me clarify something here real quick. As much as I love Marvel, when it comes to comics, I'm a DC and Dark Horse guy myself. So
Yeah.
I see exactly where you're coming from because truthfully, I like Marvel. I grew up Marvel. I was a Marvel fanatic. I've recently gotten to DC a little bit better. I think I think DC has better events
Yeah.
and Marvel has better mainstream stories.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
the way I have it.
The new 52 started up, you know, that's when I got into DC Comics, was right as the new 52 started, and I was just hooked. And so I love Marvel, but DC is my jam. But I hate that y'all always leave me out of the. You're like, Steve's my Marvel guy. I don't think you realize how much I know about comics. Let's go.
this is where the dicks hang out, and you're not invited.
So, anyways,
Fucking
all
vagina.
right, Danny, I will give you the stage then. Danny, what is your predictions for Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I don't think it's going to be as good as WandaVision. Let me tell you that right now. I have a feeling that we're going to be dealing a lot with the transition of Falcon into into Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, even the title is still Falcon, though we know that he is going to be taking up the moniker of Captain America, which I'm all for. You know, while I think Bucky, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been Cap in the comics as well.
Correct.
There's been a few people that have been,
Yeah.
But I think as far as the MCU goes, Falcon's the better choice because I think keeping Bucky as the Winter Soldier character is better. To be honest, guys, I'm real hesitant on this series. I am not a huge fan of just like straight action, and from the trailers, what we've seen, a lot of it's been just straight action.
I think this is going to be a good mix between action and comedy.
I hope so because I've loved the interactions between Bucky and the Falcon. That whole scene, I believe it was in Civil War where they're in the car.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Can you move the seat? And he's like, no. Like, it's just so...
Well, it's not like that, though, but also remember when they were fighting Spider-Man, they both got, like, their asses handed to them, and all of a sudden he goes, well, why couldn't you do that again? He goes, I just hate you. You know?
Yeah.
That right there explains their relationship to a T.
So I'm going to watch it, no matter what. I mean, anything Marvel puts out, I will give it a chance.
Yes.
So,
But yeah, I'm less excited.
so my my prediction for this is we're going to see a good mix of comedy. We're going to see a good mix of action. I think we're going to get a more in-depth story than what we're being led on to. And I think the reason behind that is if we watch the trailers, somebody right now has the moniker of Captain America. Whether it's just for the public view or whether he's actually playing the part as a whole, we don't know yet. But I think we're going to get a pretty in-depth story because we know that Sam was chosen by Steve to be captain. And we know that that hasn't happened yet. And I think we're going to see a serious power struggle, which is going to give birth to a super in-depth story. And I'm super excited to see how that plays out because, as you said in the comics, I mean, we've seen Bucky, we've seen Sam, we've seen Cap's son play captain. We've seen a lot of people pick up the mantle.
What's her name? There's a young girl who takes up the Miss America.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Her last name's Ferreira, I think.
She's kind of like
she's Hispanic, correct?
I believe so. And I think she was I think she's kind of almost like sidekicky.
Yeah. She's kind of like the Miss Marvel to the Captain Marvel.
Well, I'll be honest with you. So, truthfully, for me, I was never really a Captain America growing up fan.
Maria. Amen.
And the reason why is because, to me, Captain America, he takes place in the World War II time frame. When you try to do a solo story with him outside of that, it just doesn't work
Brandon,
as well.
This is for you.
And
real quick,
go ahead.
I just pulled it up just because I wanted to get the name right. And when I Googled female Captain America, we actually get Sharon Carter, who goes by the alter ego of Agent 13, who does end up wearing a fairly not unpleasant to the eye version of Captain America, complete with the crop top. So,
do you mean over-sexualized for no apparent reason?
That's just comic books altogether. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Dan.
I know. We go into a whole conversation about
on.
over-sexualization.
But okay, it might be over-sexualizing, but wasn't it America's ass was like the thing for like how long? Okay, they over-sexualized Steve Rogers. Don't play that with me. It's a fair level.
I'm curious.
No, it was of Miss
Yes,
Martian from
DC?
from DC. Back when I worked at the comic book store, we had to cosplay as part of it. There are pictures. So my dad has those. Yay.
Ooh,
Yeah,
John
just joins in at the weirdest times.
You said
Weird
DC, but you were
conversation.
dressed like Miss Marvel?
No, so my dad
Miss Martin.
messed up. I wasn't Miss Marvel. I was Miss Martian. I was the younger version of Martian Manhunter, like his niece, who is Miss Martian, who is on Young Justice. Full on.
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, no one cares. Until Disney buys DC, no one cares.
But anyways, so going back to the predictions, it's going to be a costly, Brandon. All right, it's going to be very, very costly, and you may have to take out a second mortgage or something.
Station 71 has a Patreon. We're gonna have an OnlyFans just to really differentiate the two.
So my prediction is I do agree it's going to be on y'all, but also I think y'all are missing the main point of it. It's going to be them two bickering the entire time because they cannot seem to work together.
Yeah,
they both want to take the lead when it doesn't really work that way in a team dynamic. And I believe it's going to be where they are both working for the same thing, but it fails because they cannot come to work together. And at the end, when they work together, that's when their plan or when they actually succeed.
Yeah. Before I get to my point, Ethan Lake, spot on, man. John's old man face just randomly pops up. That face just screamed, "You can get off my lawn." It does all the time. But to your point, Frankie, that is exactly why I think we're going to see a fairly in-depth story, because I think we're going to see that strained relationship turn into something different. And it's going to turn into something I think that's really going to play a part in this next phase of Marvel, because we know that the Avengers are not going to be the same. We know we're getting a Lady Thor. We know that we're going to have a different Cap. We know that there's potential and a very solid foundation for either a new Iron Man, for Iron Lad, for Iron Maiden, for Iron Heart. Like we have a foundation that could lead to, well, that's leading to a new Avengers. So
For Iron Man, I really think Rhodey's going to take up the mantle as Iron Man because he did that in the comics.
sir. I don't see that happening, and the reason I don't see that happening is if that was going to happen in Endgame, spoilers, when Tony's funeral is happening, I don't think we would have seen the kid from Iron Man 2 in the funeral. He was obviously placed there for a reason, and not just because they had a connection in that movie. I think there's more to that, because that kid was showing a lot of intelligence and a lot of he had a knack for tinkering and everything. So I think that's what we're going to see.
Well, I mean, it's a good point. It is, and I mean, these two have basically bickered over Steve Rogers' friendship, and that was the only reason why they became acquaintances to friends today was because of
boyfriend.
He's got points, man. I 100% agree with what he just said, though.
Is it too long for us to throw up? Because my boyfriend's going through Twitch, for those who don't know.
Oh, is that who's on Twitch? I'll be going to wonder who the heck this is.
Yep, that would be Nathaniel.
Frankie, do you want to throw that up on the screen? Because he does have a point. And
This one?
there it is.
Yep.
Yes.
So I'll read it out loud real quick, just for those of you that might be watching and can't look at the screen. To be honest, the Winter Soldier is a bitch who struggles to make meaningful progress on enacting real internal change and is subject to the same static flaws of victimizing themselves. And I mean, yeah, I mean that's what his character is based on is an internal struggle with, because he's at fault for a lot of really bad shit.
Yeah.
Well, what about this one that Brandon brings up? I just want to bring it in because we do talk about racial things with Disney. So do you guys don't think that Disney will continue pushing it from a Black Lives Matter perspective?
I think Black Lives Matter is absolutely going to show up. Absolutely.
I don't disagree with that, because obviously we're going to see some changes with Black Panther and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I don't think Rhodey's going to take up the mantle of Iron Man is because in the storyline that they're somewhat mimicking, War Machine plays a different role and almost a mentor role in the new and whoever takes up the Iron Man mantle.
You're true. You're true. But
so my question for you guys is so in WandaVision, there was a lot of rumors going around about a big cameo. Well, no, neither confirmed nor denied. That's next week. So next week we're going to talk about WandaVision. Yeah. So if you're wanting us to talk about WandaVision, it's coming. We will be talking about it just next week. We're going to give everyone a chance to get caught up. Do you guys have any predictions for who we might see in Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Actually, I hadn't even thought about that.
I'm assuming we're gonna start seeing, not just in this, honestly, but in a lot of their properties in general. We saw Evan Peters show up as Quicksilver.
Evan Peters just keeps showing up in every single Marvel property now as Ralph.
He's the new family.
But here's the thing, though. So I feel like him showing up wasn't a coincidence, because he was very clearly.
Let's wait until next week to talk about what became of Quicksilver.
Yes. This is
because I know for sure Nathaniel has not yet seen the last 3 episodes, so we're gonna be watching those this week.
Yay!
Also, shout out, we're hit 11 people. That's more than last week. So shout out to everybody who's listening.
Keep it going, players.
So, all right. Well, the other show that's supposed to be coming out not far from now is Loki. I'm not sure what the release date is on that one.
I believe it's going to start either the week after or 2 weeks after.
I think they're staying on that same timeline. So
I would imagine it'll be a week after, because they're going to do the making of stuff beforehand.
Correct. Well, the Legends they've been releasing.
Yeah.
So I'm actually more stoked about Loki than I am about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
11.
Very much on the same.
And my thing with that is, I think every single episode, it's going to be a mystery that we have yet to solve. Like you see in the actual trailer, he's DB Cooper. If you
I
don't
am
know that storyline,
fucking stoked
yes.
for D.B. Cooper because
I think
for those who don't know, I'm a massive true crime fan. And in fact, this week we are recording our true crime episode. So, heads up to those listening.
so
Very excited.
some of the mysteries I think that they're going to elaborate on is Loki's going to be the second shooter in the JFK assassination.
Oh, dude,
I think that's the route they're going
fucking
because
mind.
there's so much time travel. I think he is going to go so far back and probably even be Jack the Ripper. That's
Oh,
my
I can see that
prediction.
happening.
I don't know. This is just what I've seen and the first thing I thought of after I watched the trailer.
Right.
I don't know, but I mean,
Go ahead, Steve.
So I get what's his Tom Hiddleston. It's weird. His features. He looks like so many of the sketches of different serial killers and bad guys throughout history. D.B. Cooper, Jack the Ripper. Like he looks like a lot of these descriptions. So I mean, I think it'd be stupid not to go that route.
Well,
yeah.
and, like, to be real, like I was very excited about WandaVision. Because for those who don't know, Scarlet Witch is my favorite Avenger, and she has been before it was cool. So I've always loved the Scarlet Witch, you know. So I was very excited. Not super stoked for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Loki. Out of the TV shows that are coming, and that includes like the eventual Hawkeye show we're getting, I am most excited for Loki because I truly think this is probably going to be the last Loki we see for a while. I could see him making an appearance in Thor, Love and Thunder, but I think Tom Hiddleston, you know, we're going to start seeing the phasing out of these original Marvel characters. Realistically, these actors are going to start moving on, and that's fine. But if you're going to leave a character, Loki is, I think the Loki show is the way to do it, realistically, because you're going to get this full arc. And so I wouldn't be surprised if after Loki we start seeing Tom Hiddleston phase out. But real quick, Brandon, yes, this is our these are our curtains, our blackout curtains, because my boyfriend works nights, and so it has koi fish on it. Maybe if you subscribe to our OnlyFans, I'll give you a tour of me and my boyfriend's room.
God, you're just pushing that hard.
OnlyFans, man. Hey,
Literally pushing it hard.
doesn't have to be sexual.
I'm just throwing it out there.
OnlyFans for other things.
The majority of us know where the lubriderm is on that desk that she's sitting at. So,
I have dry elbows. Okay.
Is that what they call it these days?
Oh,
Guys, my
man.
dad is here. My dad can't know I do anything sexual. He can't
With
know.
your
You
dry
do your
elbows?
Taco Bell?
Can you stop?
So
There's something my mother doesn't need to
let's
know
get
about.
back on topic. All right. So, John, what's your thoughts about Loki?
This is the one that I've been the most excited about since they've announced all the MCU stuff that was coming to Disney Plus. WandaVision was kind of like, okay, I'll give it a chance. I'll see where it goes, and I'll reserve my comments for next week because, you know, I don't want to spoil anything. But I will say, you know, it was okay. I liked it. I'll watch it. Cool. And as the show progressed, I got a little bit different of an opinion. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I kind of feel like is going to be a filler. I'm curious to see what that looks like. I'm really interested to see. Oh, I thought you were talking to us for a second. I'm like, I already introduced myself.
Everybody say hi.
I'm curious to see where they go with this. I really like to see. I think they're going one direction, but I can't say what that is this week without spoiling something that happened in WandaVision. So, like, we're going to have to reserve that one until next week. So I think once we get that out in the air, it might change your opinion, Danny. But Loki, man, time traveling, you know, I've been on the internet. I've seen that picture of him standing in front of that stained glass window, and that stained glass window looks like Mephisto. And I am beyond excited for the possibility of Mephisto coming into the MCU.
So here's my thing with Mephisto. Let me interrupt you, John. Yes. I too would love to see Mephisto, but we also have to take into consideration that these are going to be going to the Chinese markets, and I think that is the biggest reason we haven't seen Mephisto yet is because, and I think Frankie was the one that brought this up as well, maybe in an episode but I know we've kind of briefly talked about it, but we all know that Disney's going to cater to those Chinese markets. I truly think that's one of the reasons we haven't seen more prominent gay characters or LGBTQ characters within the Disney franchise is because of the Chinese market, and Disney is not going to risk that. You know,
I see where you're going. I thought you were talking about like we're going to be visiting Chinese markets for like food in MCU movies.
No. Well, also, Danny, at the same time, and that's the reason why, and it doesn't matter if you're DC or Marvel, they never come out and name the devil.
Yeah.
They always give it a other name. And so if you're unfamiliar,
Mephisto is more likely than Mephisto, truthfully.
Mephisto is the devil in the MCU. Nobody in comics used the name the devil unless you go independent. But
but we've already seen Mephisto in movies. He was in oh my god, Constantine.
Well, that's DC.
That's not the same.
Constantine is DC. I love John Constantine.
Yeah, you're right, because he's part of the whole Flash universe. Yeah, you're right. But still, I mean, I think it still goes with my point, though, in that we've already seen Mephisto as a character, Mephistopheles as a character in a movie that was released in China. So I think if anybody's holding that back,
that's what I was going with. I don't think they're going to withhold it because of that. And like for us as Americans, or for us as comic lovers, we know that Mephisto is the devil. There's a lot of people that only watch the MCU and only the MCU. And they're not going to realize to make that connection. They may think of him like as a demon or maybe like a dimensional being from the dark dimension, you know, but I don't think they're going to make that.
There's going to be a lot of those connections that we'll make, especially when we get to WandaVision next week, for characters that people that are strictly MCU watchers have no idea about.
Oh,
and honestly, I think it's gonna open up a can of worms for a lot of people to start digging into the comics and into the lore of Marvel in general. Because while the MCU doesn't follow any like particular storyline from the comics to the T, they still pull a lot of inspiration from it. And when we get to that, I think a lot of people they're gonna be forced to having to do the research, because a lot happens in WandaVision that's really going to feed into this next phase for sure.
So I think this is a good place because we're getting to. I thank you, John. I was about to transition. I think next week is going to be a super Marvel heavy week for us because we are going to discuss WandaVision, and that's going to be a that's going to take most of the episode because we're going to have a lot of thoughts. But I think this is a good transition into some of the news that we've had from Disney this week. And I know I'm very cautiously excited so I'm going to start us off if you guys are cool with that.
Go for it.
I just have to say no by default, but I ultimately don't care.
So I'm going to start us off with the news. I got to say probably the biggest news out of the Disney company this week is that Disneyland is reopening. April 1st. Yep, kind of. We're gonna get into it. So, as the resident West Coaster, or closest to the West Coast it's gonna get, Disneyland's my home. I haven't been in about a year and a half, and I'm dying. So when I got the text from John, I think it was John or Frankie, one of the two.
John. No, it was John.
Saying that Disneyland was reopening, I immediately pulled open Google and was checking that out.
Which what she's trying to say is she didn't believe me, so she had to validate it to make sure I wasn't bullshitting.
Well, in her defense, it was April 1st.
Also, in her defense, with John's Alzheimer's, he tends to kind of babble.
Oh, for crying out loud!
You got to make sure that he's on track, so that makes sense. Continue, Danny.
So Disney did something a little diabolical this week.
A little. Are you kidding me? A little.
So, for those who don't know, Disney opened up a group of tickets this week called A Taste of Disney, which is basically you go into California Adventure, you eat food, you take pictures, you don't ride anything. There's probably not going to be a lot of characters, that kind of thing. Basically, Disney's just trying to recoup costs.
And Danny, how much does this cost?
$75 a ticket, and they
Yeah.
sold out within like 10 minutes.
Yeah, just to walk around Disney's California Adventure, not even Disneyland, just
And
California
not even
Adventure.
I believe it's not even the full park. It's just
No,
like Buena Vista
it's
Street.
Pixar Pier, isn't it? Oh, is it Buena Vista?
I believe it's just Buena. I don't think Pixar Pier is going to be open. I think it's just going to be Buena Vista
All right.
Street.
Let me look. You talk. I'll research.
Just like Apple users, Disney people will do anything that's got that stupid set of ears on it.
Exactly.
It's weird
So
because like the Apple board sits on the Disney board and the Disney board sits on the Apple board. That's bizarre.
I know.
Yeah.
That's like they have a similar game plan.
Conspiracy theories.
So
Illuminati.
I believe it was Wednesday. Disney opened up these tickets, sold out, butt ton of money. The next day, they announced that Disneyland will be reopening. As we kind of discussed, I know in our personal group chat, there's no way Disney didn't know about this. So,
Oh, there's no way.
you know, they know. So here is the caveats, though, with Disneyland reopening. One, it is only for California residents. So people like me from Arizona, who it's a quick 6-7 hour drive, 5 hours if my dad is driving, trip to Anaheim. No way. They're going to be checking addresses when you go into the park, so you can't even like sneak in.
Oh,
So
come on!
there's
If Adam the Woo could do it, anybody could do it.
True. It will only be at 15% capacity, which, I mean, that's got to be what, 5,000 people max? Because Disneyland's a lot smaller. I mean, it's going to be empty.
Yep.
No indoor rides, and if it does go indoors for a certain amount of time, they're still working out the kinks on that. So,
You said 5%.
15%.
Okay.
It's going to be the John's doing math. So
13,000 people.
13,000 people. If you've been to Disneyland, that's fucking nothing. So these are I was talking, I believe, to my best friend about it the other night. The only rides that are going to be open are going to be like Dumbo, Teacups, Storybook Land Canals, Big Thunder will be open. Splash Mountain probably won't. Space Mountain definitely won't. Matterhorn, I'm curious to see, because for anyone who's ridden the Matterhorn, it's like inside and outside. So, but Pirates is going to be closed.
Tarzan's Treehouse will probably be open.
Tarzan's Treehouse. Jungle Cruise, I could see being open, just with very limited capacity on the boats.
Well, it's probably going to be the same way they did the Disney World Jungle Cruise, spacing and everything else.
Yeah,
so it's not going to be moving as many people as long, but then again, they're not going to have
aren't they
as
shutting
many
that one down to do a refurb on it anyway? Like,
I'm not sure.
Isn't that happening right now?
I don't know when the refurb is happening. I know that Disneyland has already completely refurbished Snow White's Scary Adventure into, I forget the new name of it.
Snow White's Not So Scary Adventure.
Probably something like that. But yeah, so all the dark rides are going to be closed, which shout out to my Mr. Toad fans out there.
Snow White's Enchanted Wish.
Yeah, that's not as fun. So what I'm saying here is most of the e-ticket rides are going to be closed. And I have a feeling that Disney is just doing this to basically start trying to recoup any of the costs. Plus, like, I have at least one friend who managed to keep their job at Disney through all of this. And so, but they're in entertainment. So it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to do what Disney World has done with, the cavalcades and the kind of pop-ups? So there's a lot of questions going on over here in the West Coast. As soon as the park's fully reopen, I'll be there. I'll probably do some sort of live stream and update from Disneyland. But yeah, I'm anxiously awaiting the day that I can get back there, because I haven't been with my boyfriend yet, and I want to do all the cute Disney couple shit.
I mean, just give it time. Eventually, California will catch up to Texas and just throw caution to the wind and say, fuck it, let's open up 100%.
Yeah, actually, we're open up 100% this week. No masks needed.
Everything except for that border. Everything except for that border. Am I right there, Texas man?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had to shut down something. We don't want the COVID to come over again.
Oh my God. But yeah, so Disneyland's basically a fucking mess is the moral of this whole news story.
Yeah, pretty much. And Disney is doing what it does best, using
Fucking
something to make
everyone
a
over.
ton of money off of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's
Let's
the frustrating thing. People are going to pay for this. Like,
Mhm.
unless I got in for free, I could not imagine going to the parks right now. As much as I love the ambiance of Disneyland, especially because for those who have been, I think the ambiance in Disneyland is way better than Disney World.
100%.
I totally get, wanting to be there, but I wonder if they're trying to cut back on, we've seen all the people traveling to Disney World. It makes sense that they want to cut back on that, but fuck, dude, like the restrictions are insane. Also, shout out to the beignets. I really miss beignets and mint juleps.
I don't know what any of that means.
We're gonna have one day the four of us are gonna go to the parks, and on that day we will be kicked out of the parks.
I will tell you now. I will tell you now. If we get to the point where we can get the Hyperion crew as a whole to the parks, it's gonna be shared on the interwebs because, like I've been one time, and I remember I went to Animal Kingdom, and then wherever that stupid Donald Duck boat is in Disney World. That was it. That's all I remember.
I know there's a
It's
Donald
Space
Duck
Mountain.
boat in Disneyland, but I don't know about a.
No, he's talking about the Mexico Pavilion.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
No, it was like a giant splash pad. I remember it very clearly.
that's definitely in Disneyland.
That's Disneyland. Well, no, hold on. Didn't they have one in Toontown Fair?
That would make
Toontown.
sense.
It was
Yeah.
Toontown. That's where it
Because
was.
the one in Disneyland is in Toontown.
Yeah.
Toontown is a whole other thing
Far
because
superior. Yeah.
we're going to be getting
I
Runaway Railway in
took a-
Toontown.
And you guys
I
have
took
Roger
a
Rabbit.
trip-
Oh,
I
Roger
took
Rabbit.
a trip to Disney World when I was 11 years old. We went for a weekend trip, and that's all I remember.
I didn't go to Disney World until I was a cast member. That's why I chose to do my CP in Florida, is because I fully accepted that was the way I was going to have to do Disney World, was to like be indebted and be in servitude to Disney.
I appreciate that your father is going medieval on a set of dough balls covered in powdered sugar.
Guys, I gotta be real. My father, if he could eat one thing in this world, it would be Disney beignets. Anytime we have gone to the parks, my dad is not an early riser. The man will sleep.
What's a beignet?
It is
Oh, yeah.
Steve, why are you even on the show?
I know. Oh my gosh.
So
Okay, listen. Hold on.
Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
She makes the beignets. They're like dough covered in powdered sugar. And they are the best fucking thing. We have some here. We have one place in Arizona that makes them, and it is phenomenal. But yeah, my dad would wake up at like 5 a.m. and go get beignets from downtown Disney so we could start our days with beignets.
What?
To answer the question, the reason I'm on this show is the same reason I was on Tinder for a little bit. All I have going is I'm funny, kind of.
Are you trying to look for a date?
No, man, I scored the jackpot on that one. I swear to God, Randy. Shout out to my lady.
Shout out to everyone who's met people on their on dating apps. Thanks, OK Cupid.
I met my wife on the ultimate dating app. It's called Facebook.
John, you're
guys,
old.
seriously,
Anyway.
I met my wife when I was 11 years old. I didn't even know what a dating app was. back
Really?
then.
I didn't know that.
Yes. I met my wife when I was 11 years old.
You're
Now,
from
we did not
Texas,
get
so
married at the time. We didn't
Did
get
you guys
married when I
meet-
was 11, but yes, we first met when I was 11.
They are what
Yeah, I met my
Chupacabra eat to kick Sasquatch's ass. Okay.
All right, so let's shift for a minute from Disneyland. We'll go back to the East Coast and let's just have a quick few-minute discussion on Dr. Seuss. And what I'm getting at here, Frankie, have you ever been to Universal? Specifically,
No,
Islands of
it is a
Adventure?
plan. I do want to go to Universal, but I know a lot about the Universal due to like YouTube and shows
Danny?
and stuff like that.
I have never been to any Universal park.
All right, Steve, I assume. Really? You've never been to Hollywood?
No, if I had to choose between Disney and And Universal Studios, it's always been Disney. But now, for those who don't know, I have a Harry Potter tattoo. Proud Slytherin here. I
can
really
see
do.
that.
Are you really? Hold on. You're a
see that.
Slytherin?
Oh,
You're a
Come on.
Oh, that
What
is
else
not.
would you do?
Every test I've ever taken, whether it was on Facebook, the website, whatever, I get Slytherin every time.
oh yeah, I'm 100% a Slytherin. Dude.
I can see
too.
you being Slytherin.
Yeah.
Big time.
Everything I have so many Slytherin t-shirts. What is everyone's house? I know this is a Disney podcast, but if you
I
don't
mean,
know,
we're going to be
Slytherin
talking about
every
Suess
time.
Landing here in a minute, so it's
Yeah, I
fine.
know. I'm Gryffindor.
Of course
That
you
checks
are.
out. John,
What do you think I am? Let's
A
play that
Hufflepuff.
game.
you're a Ravenclaw.
All right, so we got a Ravenclaw. Steve, what did you say?
Hufflepuff.
Frankie,
I
what
said
did you say?
Hufflepuff.
It's
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff for
I
life.
can see- yeah.
You know what? Slytherins and Hufflepuffs get along great.
You know why? It's because we're dominant and they're a bunch of pussies and we make them do our bidding.
No, they're loyal. They're loyal and they're good people, and Slytherins need them in their life.
Or else
Well,
they
yeah,
turn to the dark
balance
side
out
real
our-
quick.
But my boyfriend is a Gryffindor, and I really don't like to talk about it because it really upsets me that I'm dating a Gryffindor.
There's nothing wrong with a Gryffindor.
Fuck
Every
Hero
Gryffindor.
of the story was a Gryffindor.
Bunch of Harry Potter fucking groupies is what you are.
Real quick, last Harry Potter anecdote before we move on. Shout out to my dad, who was a terrible parent, let me get a Harry Potter tattoo when I was 16. Who lets their kid pick out a tattoo when they're 16? Like, thank God I still love Harry Potter, but he full on signed the paperwork for me to get a tattoo when I was 16.
Can you imagine her having the Deathly Hallows as a tramp stamp and she doesn't like Harry Potter anymore?
I
Oh.
actually, other side of, I have it on the back on my my neck. I have my Deathly Hallows, but like, God, what if I got something that said like truth and
No.
love?
If my wife was 16 and her parents let her get a tattoo at the time, she would probably gotten the Backstreet Boys tattooed.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I'd get a Backstreet Boys tattoo today. But
That's
yeah,
why Danny's
no.
dad is a
I
Hufflepuff.
was gonna get Nimbus tattooed on my broomstick, but that didn't sound fun. So
Nimbus
Hey,
1.
hey, Steve. I hear Hagrid's not the only giant around here.
it's not me either. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Unfortunately,
Hey, Steve. Are you gonna let me slither in?
no, no. Exit only. Exit only.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
That joke was so bad you can walk over to the Griffin door in the side there.
I'm more of
John,
a
go to
go out
bed.
the Dumbledore type gal, but thank you.
Oh,
You know I'm drunk when I start giving Steve pickup lines. That's where you know that I am intoxicated.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he generally does need help getting picked up. So, I mean, it's
True.
only to his benefit.
You also have seen the TikTok I sent him earlier today about a guy in a wheelchair fucking
All we got was a guy in a wheelchair fucking, so that's it.
No, it was a guy
So
in a
here's the
wheelchair
story, Danny.
kidnapping a woman, and I sent it to Steve and asked if this is how he gets women.
no, I'm just funny. That's the only thing I have going for me is I'm funny.
Oh man, guys, I am drunk. Feel bad for Nathaniel. I have officially poured out the entire This is it compared to my head. That is the
segment
amount-
gives me difficult
Wow.
And see, that's saying something because she
Good
has a
thing you're on
massive
spring
zone,
break.
so-
It is a
I
good
do have my
thing.
head.
You started spring break right.
I am. I don't drink on school nights because I'm an adult, but I was like, fuck it, I'm getting drunk with my homies tonight.
So, John, bring us back into the subject where
I
you
don't know.
started on.
I was curious what you guys think about. So obviously, Dr. Seuss has been in the news recently because the Suess company, I don't know exactly what they're called, has basically said we're not going to be producing about 5 books anymore because it is it 6? Okay, so 6 books because it's basically racially insensitive and it doesn't line up with the morals that exist in our society today, right? But there's this idea that Universal is going to scrap Suess Landing as a whole, and I was curious where you guys fell on that.
I'll
So-
start. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the head on this one. That's fucking dumb. They didn't get rid of
Well.
they. They didn't get rid of, to my knowledge, from everything I've seen about Suess Landing, they didn't get rid of any of the books that have to do with Suess Landing. Like,
Correct.
could any of you guys name the books that were taken off from being published?
So I have actually read one of the books, and it's funny because it was on Mulberry Street. I don't remember the exact name of it.
Yeah.
But that is the only Dr. Seuss book that my grandmother had when I was a kid, and this is my grandmother on the East Coast. So just in case my grandmother is on the West Coast who is watching this, it's not you, don't worry. But my grandmother back in New Jersey, she's the only one that had it. That's the only Dr. Seuss book I ever read when I was a kid until I got into the public education system, and it was Green Eggs and Ham and the Lorax and all the ones that are still around today.
Yeah.
Well, so...
And I hated that book.
So I don't know if y'all know this, but this week was actually, well, Danny knows because she works in education, but this week was actually like across America. They usually do Dr. Seuss week.
Yep.
This was that week. And like all other schools, my wife is a teacher, and she did it. And I will say though, it came to a shock to me. And there's like some other teachers were mad at some of the school teachers for participating in Dr. Seuss week.
God, Steve, put the sunglasses back
I
on.
know, what in the world?
Oh God.
Here's the thing: as somebody who I work in a library, you know, like I also work in education.
Danny, let someone else talk. You're drunk.
No.
But no, and I was talking to somebody about that. Like, apparently everybody's calling for Dr. Seuss to be canceled or all this other stuff, and it's created this outcry of that, which was never really a big deal because nobody knew of it until Dr. Seuss company put it out there, Yeah. But also, if you look at a lot of American writers from history, take one of my favorites, Mark Twain.
I had another one for you.
Yeah, he's nowadays he writes a book like that. It's considered racist. Or it's considered racist. It's got the N-word all in it, and it's not like the bad one, but still it's the N-word that leads up to that one in history. But also you gotta realize that these were books of their time. These were socially correct during that timepiece that they were written, and I mean, there's a lot of American history writers that, if they wrote their books today, would be considered racist by the vernacular they used.
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to get...
And there goes Steve. He just up and left.
He was about to say something racist, and it all just shut down.
And YouTube and the tech guys realized that we weren't the ones doing it. It was him, so they just got rid of him.
But no, so as as somebody who works in education, and I work in a library, it is, in my opinion, and as the other three can justify, I'm probably the most liberal out of all of us.
No.
Yeah. No, not me.
Frankie.
There is an importance to these books. There is an importance to these classics that, yes, they're not politically correct, but it's important to talk about that. And then you can have meaningful discussions about the themes in these books that are inappropriate. My thing with the Dr. Seuss thing is nobody called them to do it. It wasn't that they were socially pressured. It wasn't that there was an outcry.
No, that was a decision they made.
Exactly. The company made the decision to pull those books. Mm-hmm. That's the company's decision. They weren't forced into it.
Nope.
And if they decided to pull those books, more power to them, and, again, as a librarian, I'm all for information being out there, knowledge, taking these books and evaluating them. But let's also realize that these are children's books. And that is, kids aren't going to be able to dissect that information. The kids aren't going to be able to go, yes, this is racist. So let's talk about how this affects the community and things like this. Kids are going to read it and take whatever can from them. That's why we have so many books about different, ways to be potty trained. they're not dissecting that. They're taking that information at face value. So, yes. Well, go ahead, John.
And to be fair, we did an episode last year on the podcast on Song of the South, and that movie is not readily available. You can't go out and buy it. I mean, you can get it on like a Chinese market and have it mailed, but I'm not paying $42 to have it shipped.
Don't say Chinese market. That's racist.
Why? We were talking about the Chinese markets earlier. But like this stuff is readily available. Like, this is the 21st century. If you really want to find it that badly, you can find it. You just go on Reddit. You can find anything you want there.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy a kidney off of Reddit, for crying out loud, if you wanted to. Yes, I agree, Nathaniel. Mein Kampf is probably one of the most influential books of our time. And
Correct.
It is, they should, while it is not positively influential, we saw what it did in the 1930s and 1940s, and ultimately has changed the course of our history for nearly the last 100 years. So, like, you can't forget that stuff, because when you forget that stuff, then we find ourselves right back in the same situation.
History will repeat itself.
So that being said, how do we feel about Disney changing, to bring it back to Disney, how do we feel about Disney erasing Song of the South from Splash Mountain and doing it with Princess and the Frog? I'm
going to let Steve answer really quick, because I know he's been trying to jump in here. And then I'll share my 2 cents.
All I'm going to say is I don't feel like this is the proper venue for my views, because I'm coming from this I'm just not coming from this as just as a consumer of a lot of the stuff that's being canceled and erased. And like, I do comedy, and a lot of the stuff that is talked about in comedy is considered a sensitive topic, and it's not supposed to be talked about, and it's not supposed to be poked at, and we do it anyway. And a lot of us, John, you know what? Yeah. You know what? I ain't even gonna respond to that.
For those who don't know, we have a private chat where we can talk and make
Where's Steve going?
He said, "Fuck you, I'm leaving."
All right. Well, while we're waiting on Steve,
it's broken. And where I was at when I got cut off by myself, because I'm an idiot, is I'm not gonna comment on a lot of this, because I am unequivocally against the cancel movement that is happening, and I'm not going to get into it here. So all I'm going to say is, if we keep erasing all this shit that is deemed offensive and all of that, we're going to end up forgetting the past that we went through, and we're going to end up reliving and repeating all the bullshit we've done in the past, because we're going to forget what it led to. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to tie it back to the question.
Good, because I forgot the question.
No, the question is, how do you feel about them canceling Song of the South and Splash Mountain and replacing it? So I don't know that I necessarily see it as canceling Song of the South, because there's really no, unless I guarantee you 100% that the people that are going on that ride, probably 85% or more, don't even realize that's about Song of the South. They have absolutely no clue.
No.
They think it is about a rabbit who's trying to run away from home, and he realizes by the end of the ride that home is the best place to be, because he's got a lot of good things going for him there, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. It's a rabbit story.
I didn't know what it was until we watched it on the podcast. Right. So
Facebook comes along, and everything, as soon as it gets into the social media world, it just explodes. It can be the most innocent thing, and it just turns into a big thing, right? And so I don't know that they're necessarily canceling Song of the South. That having been said, from a business standpoint,
kind of like my dad just said. I don't know if you saw my dad's
comment. Song South with friends, it makes total sense. Newer IP will generate more. I'll throw it up there.
Okay, so let's look at this from a perspective of Apple, right? What did Apple do really well? Apple created the iPod, marketed that to kids and teens, And then those kids and teens turned into iPhone consumers who then bought iPads and then bought Macs and then bought iCloud and then so on and so forth, right? So that's really what Disney is doing. They're taking a page out of Apple's book and turning Song of the South, which is a movie from the 1950s or 60s, I can't exactly remember right now, and they're replacing it with something that came out within the last decade. From a business standpoint, that is a money-making move. From a social standpoint, they're sitting there saying, hey, we're going to take this thing that has some controversy behind it that only 15% of the people probably know about, and we're going to replace it in a time that is socially acceptable into something that is going to make us more money, i.e., we're going to bring more Black people into the park who are going to want to ride this ride, and they are going to give us more of their personal money.
Yep.
It's a business.
Well,
that's what they're doing.
And also, it's like I like to reiterate the point that John made. Like 80% of people that going on that ride don't really realize that that's about Song of the South. It's about bear rabbit, bear wolf, bear fox, bear. Yeah, you know, which is an actual old folklore tale. I remember reading about that because they are in a book. I can't remember what book back in my elementary school days. You know, that tells like great life stories, and that's what their story's about. Now, yes, Walt changed that into his movie Song of the South, a whole different thing, but still, and the whole thing about Splash Mountain, that's not original Disney creation. They actually copied that from Six Flags Over Georgia. They had actually like some country mansion or something like that, which was the same exact ride. You know?
Yes, Michelle, I'm not alone anymore. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just so people know that you both.
But this one?
Yeah, you guys were both at the theater when Lincoln was shot. So
yes.
I let the gun out.
I'm gonna go ahead and I think those were the main news topics. Yes, gentlemen.
I think that we got time for yes.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to transition. So we're gonna stay on for about 10 more minutes. You know, right about that. Oh, Frankie's birthday is on Tuesday.
Yes.
Happy 74th, man! Congratulations, you made it.
Yes,
He was gonna do the full Marilyn Monroe, like
not a lot of people realize, but I know the big thing is John's turning old, but I am actually a year older than John.
Yep.
I turned 34 on Tuesday.
You realize you're almost 10 years older than me?
Yeah, well, most people are, so it's fine.
Fair. So I want to take
hold on. You guys
transition.
cannot destroy. You can't destroy the illusion that they're much older than us. Because in reality, you guys are only like 3-4 years older than me. So no.
Okay,
64th birthday.
Gentlemen, I'm going to transition. I think
Okay,
the
go
last
ahead.
10 minutes would be good. If anyone has any questions or things they'd like us to talk you know, talk on,
Ramble on
please,
about.
yeah, throw it in the chat. We want, you know, the whole point that we're doing this is we get to actually in real time interact with you guys, and so we want to hear, you know, what do you guys want to hear from us, or if you have episode suggestions, things you'd like us to cover, maybe a movie you'd be interested. If you have guesses, John, we should be dropping a new episode here shortly, correct?
It dropped an hour and 18 minutes ago.
Perfect. So we have a new episode up.
So if you
about
haven't gotten
Florida
enough of our
film.
voices, put that in your ear holes and enjoy it.
Apparently, my dad wants to talk about babies, which
No, he's calling all of us babies. Not that he wants you to have babies. You don't need
Yeah, I,
more
was gonna say,
Daniel
I think he was
Bryan
more
out.
I don't
calling us babies.
I don't need to reproduce. Thank you very much. No, but who can chop the most?
Chop the most wood. Probably Frankie.
Yeah, I would say Frankie.
No, I walk in my arms. It's me.
I'm about to say I don't really work out much. I just run.
Steve does get a lot of arm workouts between the crutches and the wheelchair.
I know doing this right here is a lot of hard work.
Why is there no Guru in the bedroom? Because I don't want his innocent eyes to see what is happening in me and my boyfriend's bedroom. Thank you very
With
much.
We don't want to push him to the dark side. We don't want that for
Exactly.
Grogu.
That's
So
what we're trying to prevent.
Grogu doesn't need to see Slytherin in action.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll do you one better though. Here's.
Is that gender neutral, Mr. Potato Head?
It is not gender neutral, and that's why he's wearing a cloak.
To cover his tater tots.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
See what I did there?
I like that.
Jokes
So-
on free, everybody.
What else? Throw some questions, guys.
Well,
other
hold
than-
on. Before we do that, I just want to reiterate, guys, we are doing a giveaway of our Pop Funko Steamboat Willie. They can't see you, Steve. They cannot.
Yeah,
See.
they can.
Okay, I see your hand now.
Mm.
In order to enter into this drawing, please, all you have to do is like or subscribe to one of our social media platforms.
Or all of them.
The more social media platforms you subscribe or like to, the more chances to enter for the drawing. We will announce the winner next week during our live session. So please stay tuned for next week to see if you had actually won.
Least
So.
hairy feet is probably me. Probably.
No, I see, Danny. I feel like you have this whole Hobbit situation going on.
I
I've
really
seen
don't
Frankie's
have hairy
feet.
feet.
I've
If
seen
I was
Frankie's feet,
flexible
and
enough,
they're
I'd
pretty
show you.
bald.
I tear up my feet, guys. I walk around outside all the time barefoot, and my wife
Oh,
gets
rub it in.
so
Rub it in that you
mad.
walk around a lot. Nobody
I
cares.
know.
My
Okay?
biggest fear is
Nobody
scorpions.
cares.
That's my biggest fear.
So-
I've said
what
I
have I
love
s-
you to my boyfriend, and I regret that because now he keeps sticking around.
Oh, what have I said that I regret? Absolutely nothing.
Steve's regret is saying, "Yeah, Danny, you can join the podcast."
All right, I will say my
Okay,
biggest
that's
fear. My biggest fear is probably heights, and that's my only fear, really. I don't
Yeah,
even
mine
have
is
any
My
other fear.
biggest fear is
And my
is
wife actually
dying
just
without-
confirmed it. I'm not hairy.
I
Completely
cannot believe that
shaved.
just made it. Why did that just make it on the fucking screen? God, my biggest fear, honestly, is dying without trying everything I want to try.
Gay.
You know what? Say what you want, but you know what? I've ran for public office. Okay, I've done the stand-up
that
comedy
too.
thing. I've done podcasting. I've been on TV several times. I've been on the radio several times. I've worked with middle school kids, like mentoring and all that. I've tried a lot of shit, but there's still stuff I want to try. I want to skydive. Okay,
I've done it.
Can you
I wouldn't-
skydive if your legs don't work? Like, serious question.
Actually,
Is
you
that
can.
I
You
imagine.
could,
Okay,
you could
you guys-
actually.
you-
First time you skydive, you have to jump something called tangent, where you're hooked up to somebody, and you don't need your legs for that. You could use
well,
his legs.
the way I imagine it, you guys remember when Walt was being carried by Buzz Lightyear when he was flying and his legs were like, that's what I imagine it's gonna be like. So I'm
You're like, we're
excited for that.
falling. No, we're falling
No.
with style.
He's gonna look like that kid from the movie Hook when he's rolling off the pirate ship. He's gonna like hike his legs up. And just,
I am
oh,
weirdly
man.
flexible.
Finding out Steve is right about Sasquatch.
Yeah, you're gonna be really
Oh.
upset. Actually, hey, in Bigfoot news, just so you guys know, the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization has recovered undocumented primate DNA in the woods of Kentucky, and it's not just Danny's relatives. It's actually real Bigfoot.
Mm.
All right,
Okay.
you know what? I'm going to answer this one from Nathaniel because I have a feeling about this one. I feel some type of way about this one. The best $5 box that Taco Bell ever had was the smothered burrito box, and they got rid of the smothered burrito, and it pisses me off. They got rid of the enchilada, and that pisses me off. They got rid of the
Yeah.
burrito. If it ends in Rito, it's gone, and I hate that. Danny, how did your dad learn to fly airplanes?
Yeah, how does your dad learn to fly airplanes?
He put me and my brother in a plane and decided to fly to, I think, Flagstaff. And at the time, I was too small to understand the implications of my father flying his children around. But now I remember it, and it was loud and scary. So,
Plan or not
That's
fly
like
it.
the beginning of a Dateline episode.
babe, can you order some Taco Bell right now? Now that you're bringing it up, can you order me some Taco Bell from Postmates?
Actually,
Thank
I
you.
do want some Taco Bell
what
now,
happens
actually.
if you do. You know what happens if you do.
I gotta
All right,
drop
well,
say it.
if nobody else has anything they want to add here, we'll go around the table here. Steve, you got anything?
No, I just want to thank everyone that stuck around and watched, and everyone being active in the chats and all that. You guys don't understand how much that means to us. We love to hear from you guys. We love to interact with you. We love to just know that you guys are involved, because we do this. I say it every time we record. We do this for you guys just as much as we do it for ourselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for letting us ruin your night with our bullshit.
Danny?
Yeah, thanks guys so much. This is so much fun, and these guys have really become some of my best friends, so getting to talk with them live. I know, I'm getting real gay. It's because I'm drunk.
Whoa.
The true Danny's coming out.
I know. These guys have become some of my best friends, and getting to talk about the things I'm passionate about. I just want to thank everyone for joining us, because
Taco Bell.
This is shut up. I shouldn't have told you anything. I made a mistake. This truly means a lot to me, and everyone's support. It's very special to us. So thank you so much for joining.
You are the weird side piece.
You are. Yeah.
Frankie, what do you got for us?
No, I just want to thank you for everybody that's actually made it out to our live show. We couldn't do it without y'all. We love y'all to death, and we're just hoping that we are able to fulfill your wishes of the type of show that you want us to become. With that being said, we did have an episode drop today. I am curious, and I'm going to end this the way we always end our videos. If you can, put your guesses for our theme for this year in the chat, and I will go through it. So far, it's been Bambi, and it has been Sword in the Stone. I am going to give you a little hint. No, our theme is not old, boring movies. Sorry, babe.
Although that's a very good guess, and
that is a very valid guess.
It's a valid guess.
Yes. I am curious to see where y'all think our theme is moving towards. So we did have some good guesses last week.
Yep.
During our test run. If you missed that, I'm sorry. We decided not to advertise or anything else, but we are going to be doing this every Sunday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The rest of the time zones don't matter because they're made up anyways.
Thanks, Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, that's all I really got to say.
Cool. So I will get us wrapped up here. First thing I want to say before we actually close out the show is, hi, Mom. I'm sorry that I called you out on last week's episode. I wanted to share the story and just let you guys know I was talking to my mom on the phone, and she basically ripped me apart, saying, how dare you? You were talking about me on YouTube. You made me seem like a terrible person. But I'm not sorry. I'm still fixing your damn phone, and we're getting that 5-star review and not the 1-star review. So that's really what I got. So here we go. We'll get it closed up here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on the Hyperion Review Live. We do this every single week. We're going to be doing this every single week. We very much appreciate you guys. To the 7 of you, it kind of dwindled between 5 and 7, but to the 5 or 7 of you that stuck around for this whole thing, we appreciate you. Danny's dad, Brandon, Nathaniel, everybody, Michelle, everybody who supports us in any way. But Beth's not here. I'm pretty sure she left, so it's fine. I still got a beef with her. So.
And real quick,
calling me out on 671.
Choice. You guys, wait. Since she's not here, you guys, I sent her a present. Do you guys want to know what it is?
Is it a how-to guide to play Among Us better?
No. I sent her a Hatbox Ghost soap. If you follow it in the Discord, I posted about it, and it is the Hatbox Ghost glows in the dark in the soap. So I sent that to her, and I'm very excited for her to get it.
That's a cool story.
So I think she's going to say thanks, Beth, right here.
I know,
thanks, Danny.
And that was your Hyperion review dose of
my
estrogen.
Mom's listening, everybody. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Miss Janice.
Oh, that is a pleasant surprise. I'm still fixing your phone, though. But so just everybody, just remember you can always follow us and get all the latest news and updates on Facebook, Twitter. Now we've added YouTube. We're on Instagram. Apparently we're on Twitch. Nathaniel, thank you for testing that out for us tonight and finding out that it actually does work and that it ties in directly with the system that we use. You can also read the show notes that we have, sometimes from the live, but definitely from the podcast. And email us directly at HyperionReviewPodcast.com. And then finally, click that subscribe button and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or wherever you're listening to the show. And we really need those ratings because, again, my mom sucks and gave us a 1-star review. But the last review we got was in September. It's been almost 6 months and we are reviewless. So I'm counting on everybody here to help us out with that. So until next week, I'm John. That is Steve. We got Danny over here and we got Frankie over there. And I'm pretty sure I pointed to everybody correctly, which is backwards for me. We will see you guys next week, Sunday evening, 8 Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Rest of the time zones don't matter. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go. I really gotta pee. I drank a lot of wine.
Bye, guys. Bye.